Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Laura. This is the Last Minute Laura channel. When you come here, you can usually find me making something. Today, I am going to be getting finished a project that I've had going for over a year now. I'm gonna say at the beginning of 2020, I think I started this one. It's my third entry in Finish It February. Check the link in the corner there to see the previous two projects. This one I am calling the Fireside Pullover. I used 2 strands of opal sock yarn. If you're making something like this along with me, I would say go for like a number 4 weight yarn. But I used 2 strands of sock yarn. One of the strands is orange, red, and like a pale sort of peach. And then the other strand is gray and black with a little bit of blue. And don't you think it sort of looks kind of like coals in a fire? Maybe it's a stretch, but I needed to come up with a name for it, and that's what I've got. So far for this project, I have 1 sleeve and most of one of the body pieces done. For Finish It February, we're going to be able to have a tutorial out of it though, because I'm going to show you how I make the sleeve, and then I'll show you how to do the neck shaping for the front and back, and I'll show you how to make the back piece. So, what you'll need for this project is yarn. I'm using quite a bit. I believe I'm using 5 balls times 2, 10 balls because I'm doing double strands, but 5 balls of the opal sock weight yarn. I'll try and find the exact one that I used and I'll link it down below. I also used a 5.5mm crochet hook, so you need that. You'll also need scissors, a yarn needle, and a measuring tape. And I think that's it that you'll need. I will also be linking in the description below all of the tutorials you'll need for the stitches for this pattern. I'm going to be using the half double crochet as well as the double crochet, the front post and back post double crochet, and then I'm going to be doing blanket stitches and slip stitches in the end. So if you don't know any of those stitches, no worries, just check in the links in the description, or you could check in the iCard now. I'll put all of the videos that are related to this video in there. So, let's get started. For the sleeve, we're going to start with a slip knot. Then chain 37. After that, double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, and then double crochet across. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 37. And then I'm going to double crochet 1, 2, 3 into the 4th. And then I'm going to double crochet across. At the end of this row, chain 2 and turn. Okay, so here I am at row number 2. I'm going to do front post, back post double crochets all the way across. So in the first stitch, I'm going to do a front post double crochet, and in the second stitch, I'm going to do a back post double crochet. And I'm going to repeat that all the way across. This is my regular ribbed stitch pattern. If you don't know how to do this one, don't worry, I've got the link. Just check in the description or up in the iCards, and I will show you how to do that in a different video, and then you can come back here and get started on this sweater. So I'm going to do this front post, back post, double crochet rib stitch for 5 rows. So I'm on row number 2 right now. All the way to row number 5, I'm going to do front post, back post double crochets. And that is where we'll be finished with the wristband and we'll be moving into the actual main part of the sleeve. So I'm just gonna zoom through me making this band, this wristband, this cuff, and I will come back when I finish with all the 5 rows. So I've just finished my 5 rows. My wristband cuff is about 8 inches or 21 centimeters by about 2 inches or 5 centimeters. So that is my measurement at this point. Now we're going to be moving into the main portion of the sleeve. So at the end of that 5th row, I'm going to chain 1 and then I'll do my turn. For this next row, I'm going to half double crochet in each stitch across, but rather than putting my yarn putting my hook into the top of each stitch, I'm going to be putting my hook in the big gap between the stitches, just like that. And I'm going to just do that all the way across, half double crochet. At the end of this row, chain 1 and turn. All right, I'm just on my last stitch of row number 6. At the end of the row, chain 1 and turn. And now for row number 7, we're going to do 2 half double crochets in the first stitch and 2 half double crochets in the last stitch. Otherwise, we're just going to half double crochet across normally. So 1 and 2. Okay, I'm at the end of that row. I'm gonna put 2 half double crochets in that last stitch, and then I'm gonna chain 1 and turn. So there we go. For row number 8, I'm just going to half double crochet across normal. No increase on this one. And then row number 9, I'm going to do the same thing that I did for row number 7. I'm going to do 2 half double crochets in the first stitch and 2 half double crochets in the last stitch. Otherwise, half double crochet across. I'm going to do this repeat of 1 row with increases, 1 regular row, all the way up until row number 40. We're going to go all the way up to row number 40, repeating 1 increase row and 1 regular row. Okay, I'm just coming up to the end of row number 40. And I'm gonna chain 1 and turn. And now from row number 40 until row number 80, we're going to be doing just half double crochet across, so no more increases at this point. I'm just gonna do regular half double crochets across for now row number 41 all the way up to row number 80. I think I'm going to be running out of the gray yarn before I hit that though, so at some point I'm going to be swapping the gray yarn out for some red or orange. Still haven't decided. The live stream will probably help me out with that one. Okay, so I'm gonna just zoom through this part because it's just straight across, half double crochet, chain 1 at the end of each row, and half double crochet across all the way up to row 80. I'll see you when I get there. Okay, so I'm just coming up to the last few stitches on row number 80, and I'm very happy with how it actually turned out. So, I ended up running out of my gray and black yarn that I was mixing with my red and orange yarn, so I swapped out for 2 strands of the red and orange and black yarn, and then I ran out of that, if you'll believe it, so I had to switch out 1 strand for orange. So I've got this transition now, and I actually think it turned out looking really cool. So this is the black and red, this is red, and this is red and orange. So that's why we've got 3 different colors. It's because I ran out of yarn. But now I'm finished that sleeve. So I'm just gonna pull a loop through and then trim my yarn. So there's the sleeve. Let me get these measurements now for you so you have an idea of how long we went for that sleeve. So from the cuff all the way up to the end of the sleeve, we are at about 24 inches long, or 61 centimeters. And for the width of the sleeve, like end to end this way, we've got about 22 inches, or about 57 centimeters. So that's the sleeve. You need to make 2 of these. You can see there's that huge amount of increases. It's gonna be such a cozy sweater because it's got such a wide sleeve. I think these colors really look cool together. Now it kind of makes more sense as the Fireside, because now you see like the coals, the flame, the orange flame. Okay, so the sleeves are done. I think that means now it's time. Hey there friends, just me butting in here to tell you a little bit about my Patreon. I would love to invite those of you who want to join my Patreon. The link is in the description down below. For $2 a month, you get access to the Discord, the Last Minute Laura Discord. It's basically a chat room full of people who love crafty animal planty things, and we all get together and just chat about things in there. You can upload photos of your works in progress. You can upload photos of things going on in your area. Basically, we just sort of use it to keep up with one another. On top of that, you get access to all of my bullet journal spreads. So With each pattern that I come up with, I draw out a bullet journal spread, I write out the instructions for the pattern that I followed, I drew a little picture of the item, and then I upload that for patrons on Mondays or Wednesdays of every week that I have a new project. So for Finish It February, there were 5 patterns going out to patrons. So if you like having a physical copy, or you want a copy of my bullet journal spread, or if you want to join the Discord and you'll get a shout out at the end of videos, click in the link in the description for my Patreon. I'd really appreciate it. If not, no pressure, not at all. Just if it's something you're interested in, the link is in the description. Okay, back to the video. Okay, so for the body, I'm going to begin with a slip stitch. Then I'm going to chain 83. After my chain, I'm going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, and then double crochet across. 81, 82, and 83. So I'm going to double crochet in the 4th chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, double crochet, and then I'm going to double crochet across. At the end of this row, I'm going to chain 2 and turn. For this next row, we're going to be doing the front post double crochet, back post double crochet repeat. So in the first stitch, I'm going to do a front post double crochet. In the second stitch, I'm going to do a back post double crochet. In the third, I'll do a front post. In the 4th, I'll do a back post. And I'm just going to repeat that all the way across. At the end of this row, I'm going to chain 2 and turn. And then up until row number 5, we're going to do that repeat. Front post double crochet, back post double crochet. Every time you come up to a front post double crochet, you do a front post double crochet on subsequent rows. So we're going to go from row number 2 to row number 5, doing front post double crochet, back post double crochet repeat. And at the end of that row, that last 5th row, we'll just chain 1 and turn. If that was a little too quick for you, that's okay. I do have the tutorial linked in the iCard and in the description for how to do the front post, back post crochet rib stitch. So check that one out if you don't know how to do that one yet. So I am just going to zoom through all the way up to row number 5, and I will see you back here when I am finished with the rib stitch for the hemband. Okay, so I'm just coming up to the end of my 5th row of front post, back post. I'm gonna do my last stitch, and at the end of this row, like I said, I'm gonna chain 1 and turn. Before we jump into the actual body piece, I'm just gonna measure out this piece. This one's 19 inches, or about 47 centimeters by 2 inches, or 5 centimeters. So I hope that is useful. Now we're going to move into the body portion. This is a really easy part. We're going to be doing half double crochets from the first stitch all the way across, but now we're going to be doing it from row number 6 until row number 50. We're just going to half double crochet across. Nothing special, nothing fancy, no increase, no decrease, just straight half double crochet across. At the end of each row, chain 1 and turn. A little variation that I'm doing on my half double crochets for this one is I'm inserting my hook underneath the entire stitch rather than going into the top V or the top 2 loops. I'm going under the entire stitch. I just think it makes a little bit of a tighter weave and I think it looks kind of pretty, so I'm doing that, but you can definitely just do a regular half double crochet if you want, but all the way up to row 50. So I am going to zoom through this, gonna get some work done on it during the live stream tomorrow, and then I think the day after that I'll be getting on to the armpit shaping. So for you that'll just be a second, but for me it's gonna be a little bit of time, so I will see you then. All right, so I've just finished row number 50. I've got my half double crochets. I'm gonna measure. So across at this point, my pullover is 27 inches. Wow, that's a significant increase from what I thought it was. Okay, that's fine. 27 inches across. And at this point, when we're gonna do the arm shaping, I'm about 14 inches tall. So that is, in centimeters, about 68 by 36 is the rectangle I've got right now. But now it's time to do the arm shaping. And what I'm gonna do for that, at the end of row number 50, instead of chaining one and turning, I'm not gonna chain one. I'm just gonna turn. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the first 16 stitches. After you do that, chain one. So 1, 2, and 16. Then I'm gonna chain one, and I'm going to half double crochet in that 16th stitch. And then I'm gonna half double crochet all the way across, but I'm going to leave the last 15 stitches unworked. So I'm gonna just do that at the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 15. So those 15 stitches, I'm going to not half double crochet in them. I'm just gonna half double crochet up to that point. Still regular half double crochet stitches. And from here, I'm actually gonna just half double crochet back and forth with this new number of stitches up until row number 80. So row number 51 all the way up to row number 80, I'm just gonna be half double crocheting back and forth with this new number of stitches. So I'm gonna zoom through this part too because it's not very interesting. It's just more rectangular line crochet. So I'm gonna do that. And when it's time to do the neck shaping, which will be at row 81, I will come back and show you how we are going to shape that neckline. All right, so we are working on the front piece now. I've just finished up to row number 80, and now it's time for us to do some neck shaping. So at this point, count your stitches to see how many you have across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 51, 52. So I have 52 stitches across. I know that I want my neckline to be like a round neckline. So I know I'm gonna have to crochet 2 separate rectangles, and I know I need the middle of the neck to sort of build out from there. So I know 52, I'm gonna do 25, 26 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 25, 26. So that is my middle stitch. And then I know in the end, I want to end up with a shoulder of about 15 stitches. So let's count that out. 1, 2, 15. And 15 from the other end. 1, 2, 3, 15. Okay, so that is how wide I think I want my shoulders to be, which would mean I've got this space to go from this height all the way up to where I want, which is, think about there is how high we're gonna go. So basically, we've got to create a rectangle sort of shape that curves from this point up to this point with 15 stitches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start halfway between the two, because we know we want this to be our lowest point, and we know this is the height or the width of our shoulder. I hope this doesn't get too confusing. My plan is to half double crochet to the halfway point, and then go up 1 row, but don't put anything in that first stitch of the row, and then just half double crochet across. Chain 1 up and then half double crochet across, turn around, skip the first stitch, and that's just gonna create this decrease that I'm looking for. So let me show you what I mean and how I plan on doing it. So I'm going to start my row, I'm gonna half double crochet, let's say if we're stopping at 15, end up, and we're going to 26. So I think I'll go till here. If yours is wider across, work on your neck as the measuring point. Don't worry too much about these shoulder measurements. If yours has to be a shoulder of 10 in the end, that's okay, because your sleeve makes up part of the shoulder. So you can have a much thinner shoulder than this. I wouldn't go thicker than 15 though. I think you'll end up with a hole that's too small for your head. I'm actually looking at that and thinking the same thing actually, because you need the sweater to be able to get all the way around your head. And for me, that's about 21 inches. So this would have to be 12 inches. So actually, just bear with me while I figure out what I'm doing. So now let's go through it. I'm going to half double crochet all the way to 20. I think 20 will be a good spot for us to stop on either side. And now we're gonna not chain 1, we're just gonna turn. And then we're going to half double crochet in the second stitch. We're skipping that first stitch. We're gonna half double crochet in the second stitch there. And that's going to start our decreases, which is great because it's going to start shaping our neckline. And for this row, we're just gonna half double crochet across. So technically this would be row number 82, if you're following along with me. All right, so now we're up to row 83. I'm gonna finish my row 82 with a single crochet and then a chain 1. And now we're going to half double crochet, but this time, so the first time we did up to 20, so this time we'll only do 18. We go down by 2 stitches each time. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of making it up as I go along for this part, but I'm pretty sure that's what's gonna work. So 1, 18, and then we're not gonna chain 1, we're just gonna turn. So for the first row of decreases, we went into the first 20. For the second row of decreases, we're only going into the first 18, and follow that. So the next row of decreases, we're only gonna go into 16. So I didn't chain 1, I just turned. We're gonna skip that first stitch and half double crochet into the second stitch there, and then just half double crochet across. Also, if you're noticing my very cool sleeves on the sweater that I'm actually wearing here, I will link the tutorial for that one as well. I get a lot of questions about this one pretty often, so I figure I will let you know. This is the hexagon pullover that I'm wearing now, and there is a tutorial for it available on my channel. And I will link that in the description and the iCard in case you want to check that one out after. It was the first video for Finish It February. Now we're going up to row 85, right? 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. So now we're on row 85. And for this one, I'm going to half double crochet into the first 16 stitches. So 1 and 16. And now I'm going to turn around without chaining 1. And now I'm going to skip the first stitch, half double crochet into the second stitch, and then half double crochet across. At the end of the row, chain 1 and turn. All right, and we are down to our last 2 rows, or 4 rows, I guess. Let's count. For the next one, we're going to go into the first 14 stitches. So 1 and 14. And again, we're not going to chain 1, we're just going to turn, and then we're going to skip the first stitch and half double crochet into the second one. So there's 1, 1, 2, half double crochet, and then half double crochet across. At the end of the row, chain 1 and turn. So here I am at the end of that 14. I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and then I'm going to half double crochet into the first 12. 1 and 12. And then we're going to chain 1, and this is our last row. And it's just half double crochet across. At the end of this row, I would say pull through a nice long tail, because we can use that tail to put the shoulders together in the end. If you were following along for the last couple of tutorials, you'll know this is a good little tip. When you're doing your final row of your shoulders, leave a nice long tail, because you can use that tail to crochet your shoulders together when you're actually assembling the pullover. So there we go, made it to the end. There's my last stitch. And then, like I said, I'm going to pull a loop through, maybe 3 feet of yarn. Bada bing, bada boom. There's one of the shoulders. Now I just have to do the exact same thing for the other side. I'm going to begin by reattaching my yarn though to the corner. I'm gonna pull up a loop, chain 1, and then I'm gonna get started. Okay, so for the back body piece of the pullover, we're going to be doing the exact same pattern as the front piece up to row 80. We are going to make a little bit of a change from row 80 onward, so just make the same pattern piece as you did for the front body piece all the way up to row number 80. From row 80 until 85, for the back piece, you're just going to keep half double crocheting across. We're going to be bringing the back up a little bit higher before we start the shoulder shaping. So here I am coming up to the row number 85, sorry, coming up to the end of row number 85. At the end of 85, I'm going to chain 1 and turn. So for the back piece, we only have from rows 85 to 90 to get our shoulder shaping. We know that we've got 26 stitches is our middle stitch. So 1, 2, 3, so 20 would be a nice spot to stop, but we want it to also have a square shape. We don't really want the curve that we have in the front, because we want it to sit. By having the U in the front, it sort of hangs forward. So what we're gonna do is we are only going to half double crochet into the first 15 stitches. So 1, 14, and 15. I'm not gonna chain 1, just gonna turn. Then I'm gonna skip that first stitch and half double crochet into the second stitch, and then half double crochet across. And then after that, we're going to chain 1 at the end of this row. And for the next 2 rows, we're just going to half double crochet into the first 12 stitches and then chain one at the end of the row, and then half double crochet back to the end. I'm going to do 12, so there's 2 and 12, and now I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and then I'm going to just half double crochet across, and that will be it for the back. That's all we've got to do for the back piece shoulder shaping. It's very simple for the shoulder shaping for the back. But 12 stitches is where we want to end up so that it matches with the front. This piece we do not need a long tail for because we have the long tail on the front piece for putting it together. And there we go. Now I'm going to do that on the other side. And there we go. So now we've got the back neckline done as well. Again, we end up around the same for the shoulder, about 4.5 inches. The longest point or the widest point of where we started our neck shaping is about 5 inches. And then the total length should be around the same, give or take half an inch. So let me show you those on top of each other just so you can see how the neck will sit. So I know the pattern's similar, like the texture of the fabric, but you can see the back is higher than the front. We'll do our collar shaping once we put it together. And guess what? That's the next step. I'm gonna take these aside and give them a quick block under my steam on my iron. And then I'm gonna come onto the floor to show you what it's gonna be looking like as we put it together. And then it's gonna be time to put it together. So let's do that. Okay, so this is what the pattern pieces will look like when they're all spread out. What we're going to get started with is single crocheting the shoulders together here and here. After we do that, we're going to blanket stitch these sleeves to the actual body piece where they fit in on both sides. And then we'll fold over the project, which will be sewn together. And then we're going to single crochet along the arm to the armpit and then down the body. And then from there, we'll be moving into doing the actual neck shaping and then finishing stitches. So for assembly, I'm going to put my hook into the first stitch on both pieces of fabric, and then the long tail of yarn that I left, I'm going to yarn over with it and pull up a loop, and then I'm going to chain 1. And from here, I am going to single crochet across with 1 stitch in each stitch. You can use blanket stitches or slip stitches here if you want to. I just like the single crochet. I like how it covers the seam and it just feels really secure to me. I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the other side, just single crocheting those shoulders together. Okay, so now that that is done, I'm going to open up the sweater and then I'm going to fit the sleeve in this space that's left behind. Okay, and what I'm doing now is just lining up the sleeve and stitch markering the 2 pieces together at those points. This will just make sure that the sleeve is evenly sort of spaced out in the space and you're not gonna have any like puckering or ugly bits. It's gonna keep everything nice and neat and clean. What I'm gonna do from here to attach that is blanket stitch all the way around. I'm going to start at the armpit and I'm gonna blanket stitch these pieces together all the way to the other armpit, just across. I'm gonna do 2 strands of yarn for it. You don't have to, but I'm going to because I've done 2 strands of yarn for the whole project. So I'm not going to explain how to do the blanket stitch. I have a tutorial for that if you want to check that out. I will link that in the description and in the iCards so you can learn the actual blanket stitch itself. But I am going to be doing a blanket stitch. I just like the blanket stitch. So check out the tutorial if you don't know how to do it. And if you do know how to do it, then blanket stitch around. I will meet you once I've done that for both sleeves. Enjoy me speeding through some crochet work here. Okay, so the sleeves are now attached and it's time to do the big part of the assembly, the actual sleeve sewing together and the side seams. So I've folded it with the seam on the outside. The shoulder seams are on the outside. So I'm gonna make another seam now on the outside. So I'm gonna start by putting my hook in the first stitch at the bottom of the cuff on both sides. There we go. And then I'm going to pull up a loop with my working yarn and then I'm going to yarn over once, and now we are going to single crochet this sleeve together. So we're just going to be going through both pieces of fabric and completing a regular single crochet. I am going to crochet over this little end. All the other ends they are woven in, so I don't have any ends to deal with after this project is done being crocheted, which is exciting. but I am gonna zoom through that too because there's nothing super special here. I'm just single crocheting the two pieces together. And when I get to the armpit, I'm gonna put, I think I'll put 2 stitches into the middle stitch of the armpit just to help me get around the corner of the armpit there. And then other than that, I'm just going to single crochet down to the bottom hemline. All right, I'm just gonna pull through a loop, finished my first side. I'm just gonna weave the end in right away. I have so few ends to finish weaving in at the end of this that I'm motivated to keep going. All right, so that is done. And now I'm gonna do the exact same thing to the other side. So I'll see you back here once I finish that. Okay, so I just finished both side seams, sleeve seams. You can see they look nice and finished now with that row of single crochet from the sleeves as well. But oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Alex just tried it on and it looks so cute on him. So I am very pumped. Also, I am very excited about this game of yarn chicken I'm playing. This is all I have left in the colors for this sweater. So I'm hoping that I win yarn chicken, but I kind of think I'm gonna. I think I've got more than enough to finish this project. So what I'm gonna do for the neckline now, first I'm gonna put the sweater right side out. Right now it's inside out, all the seams are outside. We want the seams on the inside. Okay, so for the neckline, I'm going to just attach my yarn by pulling up a loop just behind the shoulder. And then I'm gonna chain 1, and then I'm gonna half double crochet in each stitch around the neckline. This is going to soften all of those sort of bumps from where we shaped the neckline. Also gonna bring the neckline in just a little bit. So I'm gonna half double crochet in each one of the stitches around, and when I meet you back at the beginning, I'm going to reattach the round with a slip stitch at that stitch where we started behind the shoulder, and I will meet you back when I am at that point. Alrighty, so I'm just joining the round. I'm gonna chain up 1, and then I'm gonna go around again, just half double crochet again. I am going to do half double crochet 2 together for the 2 stitches that are at the shoulder on both sides. I'll show you what I mean when I get there. Just to sort of bring the neckline in so there's not an excess bulk of fabric. It's gonna sort of create a little bit of a pleat almost. Not a pleat, but a dart. All right, I'm at that shoulder join now. So I'm gonna yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, insert into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops. So half double crochet 2 together, and that is going to just tighten it up enough that it'll fit more snugly around the neck. After this round, I'm going to do 1 more round exactly the same way. So another round of half double crochet stitches, half double crochet 2 together happening at the shoulder. And again, that's just gonna draw it in. So I'm gonna do 1 more round and I will meet you back here once I've done 3 rounds of half double crochet, taking in half double crochet 2 stitches together at the shoulders on both sides. See you then. Okay, and here is what it looks like after I've gone around 3 times. You can see it's brought the neck up just a little. We don't need it to do anything too crazy. The neckline was pretty okay. But now I'm gonna switch yarn colors. I've only got a little bit of this left, but I'm going to switch in to the combination I used for the top of the sleeves here, and I'm gonna do the collar part in that fiery orangey red. I think that'll look nice. So now we're going to be working on the actual collar for the pullover. I'm doing front post, back post double crochets. So before I can get started on that, I need to do a round of double crochets. And then I'm going to start the round by chaining up 2, and then I'm just going to double crochet all the way around. After this, when I get to the end of the round, I'm going to slip stitch together, and then I'm just going to be doing 5 rounds of front post, back post double crochet. So it's going to be the same front post, back post double crochet we did for the sleeves, for the hemband, for the cuffs. So I'm not going to go over the instructions for that. I'm just going to show you me doing it. I'm going to do 5 rows of front post, back post double crochet. Whenever you get to the end of a round, I'm joining the round with a slip stitch and then chaining 2. So I'm going to go through that now. All right, I'm just coming up to the end of my last round of front post, back post double crochets for the collar, my 5th round, and I'm just going to finish up with my front post, back post double crochets. I'm going to slip stitch the round together, and then I'm going to just chain up 1 and cut my yarn and pull it through. We are done the collar. And that is the whole collar done now, which is awesome. Look how cute it looks. I think it's, oh my god, I'm so excited to see Alex in it. So now the only things left to do are around the cuffs if you want to. You definitely don't have to. And also around the bottom hemband. Same thing, you don't really have to. I'm just gonna do it because I like how it looks. I'm gonna do a round of single crochets in the orange and red mixture just to tie it all together with it on the cuffs, on the neck, and on the tops of the sleeves. So I'm gonna do that now, and then what do you think? Here's the Fireside pullover. I love how these colors came together. I really think it has that sort of coals at the end of your fire, at the end of your night sort of look to it. It's really cozy, it's casual. I love the big sleeves. I love the narrow cuffs. The fit is perfect. I love the neckline, but let me know what you think. Do you think you'll be trying it? For who will you be making it? Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this one, and if you don't like some part of it, let me know what you would change, because I'm always looking for new ideas for things to make in the future. But that's all from me for today, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to my patrons. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe if you're new. Hit the notification bell, all of the things. And that's all from me for today, friends. See you tomorrow in the live stream. Have a great rest of your day. Bye!